Aloha and welcome back. Today is going to be part one of two-part card series that I'm doing with the card kit that I showed in the previous video. So let's start with card number one. I'm taking the Lawn Fawn double stitch die and I'm going to be cutting out a panel here from one of the cardstocks that came in the kit. I'm gonna also use the green shimmery cardstock that came in the kit to make my card base, scoring that at 5.5 there. And there's the card base. And that's the panel. It's all nice and gold foiled around the word love. So here I'm using some fun foam, just some cheap inexpensive fun foam, and using the same die that I did for the love cutout, I'm gonna be cutting the foam out to mount it onto the back of the card front piece. So like I did in previous videos, gonna use some liquid adhesive and generously I'm gonna be putting some liquid adhesive on the foam panel and attaching that to my card front there. And I'm also going to turn that piece around and put some liquid adhesive on that and attach it to my card base. Okay, now I'm going to be using the gold figures that came in the card kit. I want to use that little ya sentiment. And using my tweezers, I'm just gonna move it around to kind of see where I want to place that ya. I want the card to read love ya. So I'm gonna decide on leaving it in the left hand corner there. And I'm just gonna very softly put it down to make sure that's where I like it. And then when I've decided that's, yep, definitely where I want it, I'm gonna put some pressure and make sure that it's stuck down really nice and strong. And here I took the Winka Stella glitter brush pen and I'm gonna just put some shimmer on all the flowers here in the middle. Really nice simple card, came together really fast. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can show you the shimmer on the flowers here. You might be able to see a little bit here, but it's gorgeous in real life. Okay, and at this point I took the Nouveau drops that came in the card kit. It's the bright gold Nouveau drops, and I'm gonna be putting that on the card front. And I'm just kind of squeezing it out on a scratch piece of paper. Since it's the first time I'm using it, I wanted to make sure that it's flowing nicely out of the bottle. So I'm gonna place some of the Nouveau drops in the corner, on the bottom right and on the top left. So this card series that I'm doing, it's gonna be Mother's Day cards since the kit is Mother's Day themed. So this is also can be used as a Mother's Day card. Okay, and I'm just showing you that it's the bright gold color. All right. And I'm just going to show you some of the dimensions, and that, my friends, is card number one. And let's move right on to card number two. So for card number two, I took the craft cardstock that came in the kit, and I'm gonna cut that down to make my card base. So I'm cutting that at 5.5. score it at 4 1/4 to make it a side folding card front. And I'm taking the foiled and flowered cardstock that came in the kit as well, and using the same Lawn Fun die, I'm going to cut out a panel piece from this cardstock here. And this cardstock piece is really, really beautiful. It's tons of gold foiling on it, nice hues of pinks and greens, and it's a really, really beautiful piece. So here I'm using the die that came in the kit. It's the Scripty Mom with the shadow in it. So I'm using the shadow piece, and I'm gonna cut out the front panel. And I also cut out 4 pieces of white cardstock with that mom cutout. And I'm just going to be layering them one on top of each other just to make it a nice thick piece for my card front. You could also use that fun foam and cut it out once and then stack it on top of each other. I'm going to use the Scripty Mom die now, and I got this gold foiled cardstock in my stash I want to cut out with that Scripty Mom. So here it is, and it's beautiful. It cuts it out really intricate, nice little cutout here. So removing that, there you go. Just got so much shine to it too. Okay, so now I'm taking the shadow, and I'm going to be putting the Scripty Mom. I'm going to be gluing that on top with some liquid adhesive there. Okay, and just lining it up, making sure that it's on there correctly, and it just looks gorgeous. It's got all that dimension. It's just a gorgeous piece on its own. So at this point, I'm gonna be gluing down. There you go. I mean, that just looks amazing. So I'm gonna be gluing down the card front to my card base using the liquid adhesive again. I like using the liquid adhesive most times because I have a little bit of wiggle room. Because it's liquid, it doesn't dry immediately like as tape runner. It's gonna, as soon as you lay it down, it's gonna stay. So with liquid adhesive, I have a little bit of time to move it around if I didn't place it correctly. I'm just pressing down, making sure everything's down nice and straight. And then using the liquid adhesive, I'm gonna be putting my focal point there with the Mom Scripty and the shadow right in the place that I cut it out of. And it fits on there just incredible. So on the die cut, there's a little sliver that it cut out that I didn't really like because through it you could just see the craft cardstock in the back and it just didn't look right. So I saved all the pieces from the cutouts prior, and I'm just sticking them back into place there using my tweezers and my quickie glue pen. Perfect. And you can see all that shimmer and shine from the gold foiling. So here I'm going to use the stamp set that came in the kit. I'm going to use the little stamp that says, "I'm so glad you are my." And I wanted to just make a note. So when you're trying to put your stamp on straight, just use the grid on your grid mat and you can just pick that up. So prepping my cardstock here with the embossing buddy and using some Versamark ink, I'm going to be stamping my sentiment onto the black cardstock. I'm gonna use the Simon Says stamp, the antique gold embossing powder, and sprinkle that onto my stamp sentiment. And if I didn't use that embossing buddy, the powder would have stuck everywhere, so it's really important to use that. And using my heat tool, I'm gonna just heat up the sentiment there. Perfect. I'm gonna try to get a closer look if I can focus. There it is. I'm so glad you are my. So I'm just gonna cut that out into like a little sentiment strip. There we go. And using some foam tape, I'm gonna mount that strip on the foam tape there. Okay, peel off the background. I'm just gonna place the sentiment right above the mom die cut. And giving that even pressure there. Okay, and it looks good at this point, but then I decided that I wanted to use some Wink of Stella and add it to all of the bigger flowers. I don't know if those are, looks like roses, so I'm going to use a Wink of Stella and all the roses on the card front here. Alright, let's see if I can get a little closer look at the roses with the Wink of Stella and all that gold foiling. Okay, and that was card 2. And moving right on to card number 3. So I'm gonna use the background stamp that came in the kit. This beautiful floral stamp. And I don't have a bigger like Misty tool, so I just turn the stamp on its back and ink it up from the front. And I'm using my Versamark ink again. I'm just gonna put a nice even layer of Versamark. I'm going to show you there. You can see where the Versamark is. It's shiny. And then using the Bristol smooth cardstock, I'm going to just put it right there on top of the stamp. And using a cloth, I'm just going to make sure that I get even pressure. And if you noticed, I did not use my embossing buddy, so I did luck out with my embossing powder. And you can't see anything on the paper now because of it's clear, the Versamark, but as soon as I add the black embossing powder, now you can see the pattern on the card front there. So I'm just gonna generously add the black embossing powder to my front panel. And my video cut out, so I don't get to show you how I heat set it, but here it is all heat set and ready to go. So I'm going to be doing some ink blending on this panel, and so I'm going to use Distress Oxides, and that's fossilized amber. And with ink blending, with the blending tool, you do want to start off of the cardstock and blend onto the cardstock. So there you see that I have some of the ink on the right hand side. So just blending it on real nice. It goes on so nice and smooth with the Bristol cardstock. And I'm going to go into Worn Lipstick, Distress Oxide. And I'm going to be blending that on the same way, off of the paper and then bringing the color onto the paper. I'm going to be overlapping the two colors to try and get a really nice blend between the two and create a new color, like an orangey tone, because yellow and pink make a orange. And sorry for the movement, my camera wasn't properly held down, so with the circular motions of my hands, it started moving my camera around. But as you can see here, the more that I blend between the two colors, you can see the more of an orangey tone that they're making together. And there you see the two together. And moving on to the wilted violet, very nice vibrant purple here. And coming on from off the cardstock, and I want to get a really nice blend between the worn lipstick and the wilted violet. So I'll just go between the two back and forth to make sure that there is no harsh lines. It's gorgeous. Nice piece. So vibrant with the colors and with the blending effortlessly with this Bristol. It makes you just want to blend every single project on this, you know. All right, and there is the masterpiece. I did want to just show you how I store my blending pads. So I just store them in this little like album and keep them there for the next time. Okay, so I'm taking a microfiber cloth and just kind of doing a quick wipe to get all the ink that is left on the embossing. I'm taking there's perfect pearls in this mister, and I'm just gonna mist this paper from a couple inches up just to get it blended really nicely. I let that dry overnight, and I am actually now gonna show you how I finished putting the card together. So I used the mom die cut. I took the shadow die cut and cut vellum with that, and then with the scripty mom I cut out with black cardstock and layered 5 layers on that. And then I also cut out a little tag for my sentiment to go on. Okay, so I'm taking some score tape, some really strong double stick adhesive here, and adding it to the back of my panel. Because I added water, I misted water on the front, I wanted to make sure that there is going to be no warping going on when I attach this to my card front. And this is good, strong adhesive to keep your cards, you know, intact for a really long time. So this front panel is not going anywhere. Okay, and I'm just going to remove the backing, make sure that my card base is the right way. And I'm just going to remove the backing to the score tape here and attach that panel to the front of my card base. I wanted to make sure that the purple was up on the top, so I'm just making sure for myself. And attaching that to the front, and this is the double stick adhesive, or double-sided, so once I put that sucker down, it's not going anywhere, so I need to make sure it is where I want it to be. Now here I'm going to use the matte multi-medium, and with my scripty mom die cut I'm going to be adding some adhesive to the back, and I'm going to stick that onto the shadow cut out there. And it's good to use the matte multi-medium on this because matte multi-medium dries clear, so there won't, you know, if there's any glue on the sides, it won't show when it's all dried. So I'm just gonna lay that there, and look at how amazing that looks. And then put the sentiment right underneath. So here I'm gonna be using some foam adhesive again. And I'm gonna take the mom die cut, and I want to make sure that I put matte multi-medium only behind the black parts, because if it gets on any of the vellum, it'll show through on the project. And then very carefully placing that where I want it to go on the front panel, and then taking my sentiment strip, I'm going to be placing that right under the mom die cut. And the sentiment says, it's really sweet. It says, "Words cannot begin to explain how much your love and support has meant to me." It's really sweet. And then I got some of these sequins, kind of random sequins I got off of Amazon. And I'm going to be using coordinating colors and just placing them randomly in their little color family areas, I guess. I don't know what to call it. In their ink blended areas. So I'm going to put the purple with the purple and pink and so on and so forth. Just gives it a little bit of shine, those sequins. Okay, and that is the end of card number 3, my friends. Here's a couple of still shots of the cards that I made today. And stay tuned for part 2. I'm going to be making 3 more cards with this kit. Mahalo for watching. I'll see you next time.